People seeking mental health support bypass traditional waiting rooms. They find immediate answers in the glow of their phones, making conversational AI a frontline intervention. 58% of people relying on mental health AI never interact with a human clinician. For them, traditional intake does not exist. Tech's default reflex is to move fast and fix vulnerabilities post-launch, but adding guardrails after deployment exposes users to direct psychological risk. Lawmakers often respond with an opposite extreme, drafting legislation that seeks to ban clinical AI entirely. Neither technical negligence nor policy bans address the root issue, the lack of a coordinated, safe pathway for these tools. Creating a safe ecosystem for conversational AI requires replacing ad hoc fixes with a three-part infrastructure. This system relies on three interconnected pillars: developer architecture, regulatory safe harbors, and clinical intake. The science behind these pillars is already written, and the operational frameworks are already published. For the first pillar, developers must move away from the idea that safety is a feature added post-launch. Transitioning an AI from a proof of concept into a clinical tool is a matter of executing these established systems. Most current mental health AI models lack external validation. They remain in the proof of concept phase, isolated from clinical reality. The final step before market access is a hybrid effectiveness implementation trial to ensure the tool works in a clinical setting. Crucially, the review identified a gap, a hard-coded escalation pathway that immediately connects users in acute distress to human crisis services. We see this architectural model in practice through the work of Stanford research scientist Xuan Zhao. In Nature Reviews Psychology, Zhao argues that clinical psychologists must be part of the development team from day one, not just advising from the sidelines. She validated this approach through a multi-institutional trial involving students at Stanford, Harvard, and the University of Washington, proving that these tools can improve social and emotional well-being when designed correctly. The difference between a dangerous chatbot and a therapeutic tool is a deliberate architectural choice regarding who is in the room during the build. Beyond the developer level, state legislatures are struggling to find the right way to regulate these emerging tools. This logic tree shows why simple bans fail. Prohibiting specialized clinical apps diverts consumers toward general-purpose chatbots with no clinical guardrails. Utah's Safe Harbor Framework, published in NPJ Digital Medicine, offers a different path. Instead of a wall, it creates a structured regulatory gate. The strategy is to regulate the lane tightly rather than closing the road entirely. To enter the market, developers must provide proof of pre-deployment safety testing and crisis escalation protocols. Access is also contingent on continuous clinical oversight and ongoing monitoring. When these standards are met, the gate opens to a regulated lane. This isn't just theoretical. Casey AI has already completed over 1.7 million safety tests to meet these pre-deployment standards. Effective regulation forces technology to meet established medical standards rather than attempting to eliminate it. The final pillar is the interface between the tool and the human clinician. A commentary in JAMA Psychiatry by researchers at NYU suggests that the clinical conversation itself must change. The guidance is clear. Therapists should stop debating whether clients should use AI and start asking how they are using it. AI chatbots often function as well-read friends, actively filling the critical gaps in care that frequently occur between scheduled therapy sessions. Patients often confess deep psychological stressors to an AI that they might never volunteer to a human therapist out of fear or hesitation. Screening for AI use is not a clinical endorsement. It is an essential part of the modern intake process. Integrating these AI interactions into a clinician's dashboard provides a more accurate and comprehensive diagnostic picture. Failing to screen for AI use leaves critical patient data in the dark, while integrating it provides a bridge to those hidden users. These localized clinical and state frameworks are now scaling into a global standard. The World Health Organization recently convened experts in the Netherlands to build a new consortium on AI for health governance. The WHO's position is that any AI interacting with emotional vulnerability must have safety, accountability, and human well-being built into its architecture from the start. The consortium is creating a permanent governance floor that will span all 6 WHO regions. As domestic laws begin to reference these international standards, compliance will become unavoidable for developers building for a global market. These frameworks are the emerging permanent infrastructure for conversational AI in healthcare. Ensuring safety requires all three of these pillars, architecture, regulation, and clinical intake, to function as a single cohesive structure. This system must be supported by the foundation of international governance. The specific protocols for building safe, effective mental health AI have now been fully documented in the scientific literature. Developers who bypass clinical leadership and regulators who rely on blind bans are moving against an established evidentiary consensus. The blueprints are published. Build the system.